And I heard firsthand the vision that you had with the pink smoke and the drums and the 3 clap. Like, you did. You got your team, you got the playing team, and you got the whole community to buy into a vision.
Maybe not the 3 clap.
We're working on it. It's getting better. It's getting better.
I had to do it.
We're adjusting it. It's getting better.
Are we adjusting it?
We're getting there. We're getting there. It's a conversation.
Welcome to the recap show. So we're going to be talking about the NWSL. There's been a little bit of a break, and we're going to be talking about some really exciting things that I'm going to be doing this summer.
Woo!
So we're in a little bit of a break with NWSL. This is kind of a mandatory break.
Wrong. We were in a break the last week of June. We are now in our second preseason of the year.
Thank you for the correction. So can you talk us through like what this break is like for you personally, but also how it feels league-wide for all of the teams?
Yes. This is my first season not playing international football and actually playing. So it's an interesting experience that you also never had. This is an international break. So all of our Europeans that are on their respective national teams are in the Euros. And so happily, the NWSL takes a break from all league matches. And it's weird. And we have a mandatory 7 days off where you kind of try to take a break, but also you can't get unfit because you're going to get back into season. And at least non-internationals get a summer vacation, which we never had. That's lovely. What a delight. And what happens now? I'm not sure. I think all the other teams are still off. That's what I heard. But Angel City, we are back in preseason in full force because, as you know, we have our new coach, Alex Straus, and he is into training and he is into working very hard at every single training. And he is re-implementing the whole structure of the team. So we're in a mini preseason.
Okay, give us a like snapshot of what this kind of like new vibe is with Alex and training and his philosophy. Like, who is this guy? Like, what type of impact has he had on the team already?
Okay, so my coach, Sir Alex, as I call him behind his back, his wife is a fashion designer. So he shows up every day, like really well dressed. And he's kind of revolting against the pink uniforms that the Angel City coaches have to wear. So he puts it on at the very last second and he does all his meetings in his street clothes. I think that's like telling of a person, right? And he is a football fanatic. He's very passionate. He's very knowledgeable. He's Norwegian. He's been in Germany for a really long time. So he's very much bumbling through his like language change. And, you know, getting all the little funny, quirky things wrong, which you just love.
You love.
Just brings everything together. And how would I describe Alex? Okay. So I would say from my perspective, we are completely resetting everything you know about Angel City on the field. No one has said that to me because they like to call it incremental change. But we have hit the reset button, and the style of play, I think, will look very different. And I'm excited about that, personally. And in resetting everything, it's very hard. As you well know, football is very complicated. And I actually find it so fascinating at how someone might approach such a big change mid-season. And we'll see how it goes. I think it's really hard. I think the project he's taken on is really, really hard. And a little example of how my coach is 2 days ago, we had an inter-squad scrimmage, and he calls our front four a circus. He has not defined why or what that means, but he puts those tidbits, he plants those seeds, and he says the front four is a circus. So, you know, we were talking about interplay and dynamicism. Is that a word?
Sounds amazing.
Fluidity in the front line. And right before we went into the inter squad, I said, Alex, like in your time as a coach, how have you seen success in players building those relationships? Like, I know what it looks like when it's good, right? But because my team didn't have that fluidity in the past, I have no idea what my teammates might do. Like, what should I do? Should I just move first? Should I just initiate and see what happens? And he said, oh, yeah, you'll be fine. I was like, thanks, coach. Went out, played the scrimmage, had the day off, came into a team meeting this morning, and he said, I got a player who asked me a question. Christen, will you ask it to the group? So I asked my questions to the group. How can we progress? How can we learn together? And he showed a video. He turned on a video of an intersection in India that has no signals, no stop signs. And it just had thousands of cars and people. And I swear it was like going on really fast speed. And they were just slamming on the brakes, going. And there was no rhyme or reason. You couldn't see it. And he's like, this is football. No crashes. And then I was like, I hate this. Like, this is horrible. I have such agita. And then he was like, oh, Christen, you don't like that one. And then he goes to the next slide. And then there's a formation of birds. And it's a migration of birds. And they're flying through the sky. And there's music in the back of this. And he's just yelling over the video going, this is football.
I love this.
And, what I learned today was that birds, when they fly in a formation, apparently, there is no leader, that any bird can move in any direction at any time. And the rule is just like they've seen that the 7 around them follow. And as long as the 7 around them follow, the flock will move together. And so when you watch the migration of birds, you see these like dives and these ebbs and flows. And that's what he was trying to express as football. And he actually said, in a few months, this will be second nature. He's like, don't worry. You don't have to know how to migrate.
Yeah.
Birds don't know. No one taught them how to migrate. He's like, it'll come naturally to you.
I love that.
What do you think?
Well, I like to watch practice sometimes.
Sure do.
And I saw an inter-squad scrimmage recently where I saw a glimpse of, I think, the new version of what we should expect from Angel City. And I didn't necessarily see birds, but I did see some synchronization and fluidity and a little bit of a circus that you're talking about. So I would say that it is really hard to get a team mid-season, especially in the NWSL, because we know it's not like a training league. It's very much a game league. So it's going to take time. We live for the weekends. And we live for weekends. And I think for Angel City fans, I do think the expectation of making the playoffs is real. Like, I think we should, as fans, have that expectation. But I also think like this is a long-term process. And there's going to be some stickiness. But I'll say it and I'll keep saying it. Like, I believe Angel City's moving like in the right direction in the footballing side. So Angel City fans, you might still have to, it might take some time, but just stay positive.
Well, I will say from my perspective, what a joy and a gift to be learning and feel like a rookie.
Yeah.
Again, in a meeting room with my eyes wide open in the front row, just being like, it's just a new perspective on something I've done my whole life. And it's so refreshing. And I just love learning. And it's such a delight at 36 to be being coached by someone with a very unique and different perspective. And I feel very inspired. So shifting gears to learning new things and doing new things at 36, but you're 37.
Love when you do that.
And being inspired. You are in the process of doing your own training.
I am, which is really funny because we're both training in the morning. So yeah, I'll go pretty quickly because we have an amazing guest interview to get to. But so as most people know, I started kind of my cycling journey a little over a year ago, and it kind of came into like full effect when I was invited to the Tour de France last year. And I had this incredible experience, met these incredible athletes, and I was just totally hooked. And then, I was invited back this year to go to the Tour de France, but this time there was a caveat that they wanted me to, if I was going to go, they said, you have to ride stage 6, Le Top, which is like a famous stage in the Tour de France. So I was like, amazing, like, sweet, like, this is such a cool opportunity. And they were like, well, we know you're really fit and like you'll be able to do this, but this is something like you really actually have to train for. Like, you can't just kind of show up as, Tobin that just rolled out of bed and do this. Like, you have to train. Like, this is kind of serious. So I was like, all right, I love to train and I love like having a goal. So I'm currently in like a 4-week program of preparing for my moment at the Tour de France. And immediately I texted my mechanic, Maxwell, who's also an incredible rider. And I said, Maxwell, please, can you be Coach Maxwell for 4 weeks? And you know, I'm currently being absolutely crushed. I really didn't have time for this, but somehow, you know, you make time for the things that you want to do. And I'm so excited to do this because I love the sport. I've become like really hooked, and I want to continue to grow like all of women's sports, you know, and not just, you know, I've seen the effect that the U.S. Women's National Team and, you know, women's football has on the global landscape of sports. And this is a sport for whatever reason with my injury that I've gotten connected to and close to, and I've really started to care about. And I want more people to know about it because it's so cool.
A few questions. How many miles is your ride?
Well, I have blocks between 3 and 4 hours typically for my rides.
No. For Le Top.
Oh, so it's a 60-mile ride, but 10 miles of like really intense climbing. And that's really what we're preparing for. And
so how long will it take you?
Probably around 4 hours if I'm doing a good job.
And do you have to do anything other than finish?
No, but you do have to really finish quickly because like the women, like the actual race happens after. So that's why they say like you actually have to prepare for this because it's something that like you have to get it over, like you have to finish.
So just for clarity for everyone, on a few weeks' notice, Tobin is going to the Tour to ride a 60-mile famous leg of the Tour de France with 10 miles of going straight uphill.
Well, supposedly it's switchbacks.
I don't even know what that means.
And an incredible descent. And it was funny because I was like working on descending today, and it's fine when you're descending, you know, with like 1 or 2 people, but thinking about descending.
Oh my gosh, that's so scary. Do not talk to me about descending. Do not. No. When I tell the story, because I found out that I'm very similar to my father and I love to brag. I just found this out because I've been telling everyone that Tobin's riding the Tour. Every single person says, that's insane, but if anyone can do it, it's our girl Tobin.
I don't know if I should take that as a compliment.
You have
when
a little cyclist
insane
body.
and Tobin go together. But yeah, I said this to Kristen when I was riding home after a really long ride the other day. I was riding past the beach and there was just like people just enjoying their summer, like laying on the beach, like playing, like just throwing a like volleyball or something. And I was just thinking to myself, like, why am I doing this? Like, I could just be like on the beach. It's summertime, you know? And then I was just like, yeah, this is awesome. Let's fucking go. It's just, I don't know why I'm like this, but I'm grateful for this really cool and unique outlet. And I'm excited to continue to shine a spotlight on other parts of the women's sports landscape.
Well, everyone, I think we should force Tobin to document her training journey. So leave your comments, tell her what to do and how you would like her to do it, and see if she will show us what she's doing along the way. Good luck.
Good luck.
We have a very special, incredible guest, Julie Uhrman, the co-founder and CEO of Angel City.
Let's bring her in. Welcome, Julie Uhrman.
Yay! Welcome to the recap show.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Wow. We're so happy to have you.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
You've been on our top list of people that we will always call to do the easiest and best interview of our lives because you are so conversational and so openly emotional.
For better or worse.
Same as me.
Right.
So we know it's going to be an amazing opportunity to talk to you. And we know that our whole community is so excited to get a little bit of an inside look into how you've done what you've done, which as a player for Angel City, I can tell you is truly incredible. And it's changed my life. And it's changed so many people in Los Angeles' lives to be able to see an incredible franchise like Angel City that you've built. So let's start there. I've heard you speak so many times to us and about us, about how you wanted impact and business to go hand in hand. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. And well, first, I would say I didn't create Angel City. I mean, you guys know it takes a village. It takes a village to start a company. It takes a village to win a World Cup or a gold medal. And you can't do it alone. The hardest part about starting a company is converting that vision to conviction and then to results. And it's hard to find people that'll come along on that vision with you because they have to believe something that doesn't exist, right? They have to believe that others will come, and that's really hard. So we made it even harder with Angel City because we didn't say, hey, we want to build a football team, or we want to build the best women's football team, or we want to build the best women's football team in Los Angeles, or the best women's football team in the world. We said, no, we want to use our platform or our voice to drive to equity, which is very important to women, hopefully everybody, and win on the pitch. And that was really hard from the beginning because we got questions like, I don't understand. Are you a charity or are you a football team? Is this like buying a seat at a charity event, or is this really investing in a club? And trying to get people to understand that it's both and you don't have to sacrifice one for the other was a really challenging part of this journey for like the first 3 months. We just couldn't get anyone to understand that.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that a world existed without Angel City. And that's, 4 years ago? Mm-hmm. For me. And I was just at the Men's Club World Cup. And the coolest thing ever is, when people think about women's football, when I say the U.S. Women's National Team, it's something that the men understand. They understand like the U.S. Women's National Team's a winning team and all this. But when you say Angel City, it's also something that they understand, which is crazy to me because there aren't many clubs. I'm pretty sure if I named any other NWSL club, they'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. But the impact of Angel City, the hype around Angel City has gone across. It's global and it's recognized as a massive success. And I just wanted to share that with you because I thought it was pretty cool being in the room with these men, that women's football to them is kind of somewhere distant away, but they were so aware of like what Angel City is.
I mean, that's huge. And that's what we wanted to do. I mean, if you build a global brand, you have people talking about you. You're building that attention awareness. And then it's what you do with that is what makes the difference. And for us, it's having the impact in the community, building something that's inclusive and diverse, and then ultimately winning games that lead to winning championships. I've spent hours over the last 2 weeks watching. There's so much football on right now. It is like unbelievable. Between the Men's Club World Cup to now the Euros. It's just been nonstop football. And I've been telling everyone it's really fascinating to watch because when you watch the Men's Club World Cup and they pan to the fans, it's all men and it's all boys. Literally, like you barely pan to a woman in the stands. And they're women in the stands because we're fans of football and we're going to these matches. I was at the Rose Bowl. I saw PSG play. I was there. But if you're watching, you don't think any women watch the men's play football. Then you watch the Euros and it's like, all women, all girls. You watch the U.S. Women's National Team play Ireland, all women, all girls. And it's like media is not doing us a service to show that football is for everyone. But then when you come to an Angel City match, it's men, it's women, it's girls, it's boys. Like when we put it in our presentation decks, when we put it into trailers, like you can't get a shot that's exclusively one gender or another. And that's something that I'm so proud of. And that's what I think of when you talk about the fact that everyone knows about Angel City because we intentionally built it so that there was something for everyone. And then we built the game day experience so that everybody would want to go. And it didn't matter if it was a woman or, a man playing soccer. It was, this is going to be a great experience. And it's even better when it's women and they're incredible. And you have people like Christen Press on the pitch. And so, it's just an interesting time right now where we still have work to do, where like media isn't really helping us change the narrative that is already changed if you actually go to these matches.
Yeah, it's so cool that you've recognized that because that obviously was a huge part of us like starting our media division was just the disconnect around like the culture and what we're showing and how narrow it was to actually what we were experiencing and trying to like kind of blow that wide open. And I encourage everyone that comes to LA to go to an Angel City game because it's such a unique experience. And like you said, you can't pan anywhere on the field without a diverse snapshot of what I think women's football means to kind of the global mission and purpose of the game.
Yeah, and I think the culture and the brand that was built permeates through that stadium. And the first thing that I say when someone asks me about Angel City is, the team I identify most with in the world is the U.S. Women's National Team. It's the team I played the longest on. And so that is like the standard of what football is for me. And when I compare the best fans in the world, all of America, right, that followed us through, my 10 years and continue now. And then I compare the Angel City fans. The difference is the way that our fans at Angel City show up is very tied to the specific brand that you all put together with equity and impact, in the forefront. And I think it brings a joyousness into the stadium that I didn't experience. And I've played in bigger stadiums and I've played in bigger moments, but I've never experienced being in a stadium that's so fun and so joyful. And when I think about it, then I think about you prepping for the very first game. And you're like, then there's going to be a parade. And then people are jumping out of a balloon. And then there's pink smoke everywhere. And it's like, you curated that. Yeah. You curated a moment. And in a lot of ways, you said in the beginning, like, you have to get people to buy into a vision that doesn't exist. And when I think of that first game, and I heard firsthand the vision that you had with the pink smoke and the drums and the 3 clap, like, you got your team, you got the playing team, and you got the whole community to buy into a vision.
Maybe not the 3 clap.
We're working on it. It's getting better. It's getting better.
I had to do it.
We're adjusting it. It's getting better.
Are we adjusting it?
We're getting there. We're getting there. It's a conversation. We're getting there. But it's funny because we wanted to create rituals, right? And a ritual doesn't start day one. A ritual happens over time, right? And so when you look at the great clubs in the world and the great teams, they're like, what are their rituals? Like, what is it that makes them unique in there? It's the, if you look at the Sounders, right? It's the walk to the stadium. Right? So everybody has their thing. And, maybe the 3 clap will be chaos after this conversation, maybe not. But, we're working on it. But like to what you were saying about Angel City is typically in sports, people care about the score. That's it. If my team is winning, I'm happy and I'm going to games. And the second my team loses or the second there's no chance to win the ring or the championship, I have better things to do. Mm-hmm. Like I believe that's a lot of the culture of fans in the US, right? It's all about winning. And with Angel City being an expansion team starting from scratch, also women's football, right? Where you had all of these, perceived negatives against it. Nobody watched, no one invests, no one cares, no one shows up, no one buys merch. Like we needed them to care about the why, right? So the winning and the losing could come. And that's what we work so hard with the impact and the equity, and then bringing that into the stadium where you showing up matters. Like having a full stadium matters because it not only tells our players that we care about you and we are here for you, but it tells our sponsors that there is value in supporting this club. And it tells the media partners there is value in the rights that you provide in the broadcast that can come to the clubs to create this experience. And so we tried to make everybody understand their value and why it helps grow the collective. And I think that's one thing this club did really well. From, our player fun, right? Where when you repost about a game, you get an opportunity to benefit from the netting, the net gate receipts to, our Player 22 fund where our sponsors can help, players continue to develop in their careers and whether that's soccer or their entrepreneurial efforts. But everybody plays a role, and we've seen how that's played out in our valuation and how other teams have started to invest in their clubs and other investors are starting to value other clubs.
One thing that keeps coming up that I love is this idea of, one, everything's built in community, two-way. Like even when you said 3 clap, you're like, it's a conversation, right? And I think a lot of Angel City has been like that. And it does, again, point to, in my opinion, like your leadership, which I'm always hoping to like learn from and to understand because leadership's just so interesting to me. And Tobin and I are entrepreneurs, and a lot of what you do I see as like the work of a reimaginer, and that's why we're here. We're here to reimagine. So how would you describe your leadership style? And when it comes to getting people to buy into that vision that doesn't exist, how did you do it?
Easy question. Look, I think at first it starts with my passion. Like I just believe so much in what it is. I'm not selling you something. I believe in what it is I'm saying. And I think through the way I talk about it and the way I act and what I do, you believe that I will do absolutely everything necessary to get there. Like failure isn't really I never think like failure is not an option. Like I don't see, when I see a no, it's like, okay, what can I take from that to get to the next yes? I don't let the no stop me, and I don't know why that is, but I think passion is really important. 2 is I find people that are excellent at what they do and then try to get out of their way, right? I think one of the big challenges is that you hire someone who's great at what they do and then you micromanage them, or you tell them what to do, you tell them who to hire, or you tell them what they can or can't do, or worse, you set the bar so low that like they're no longer inspired. And so with Angel City, it was find the best people, and then we set the bar really high. And what was incredible was we set the bar high, I got out of the way, and then everyone just surpassed it. Because again, like the only limits you put on yourself, the only limits that exist are the ones you put on yourself, right? So if you hire great people, like nobody wants to be limited. When I said, the home opener was going to be the greatest show on earth, I got a lot of pushback, and I got that erased from the board because they were like, Julie, like that was just such a big idea. And then I went back and I put it back on the board. And I was like, okay, so what do we have to do to make this happen? And there was like, oh my God. I mean, we had a live concert before the game, right? We had nearly all of our 100 investors were there. It's just, it really is like to create an environment as a leader where anything truly is possible. I think that's my special sauce. And then bringing in just great people that, want to show how great they are, because I think we as women, we want to be judged by our performance. Like we want to be judged by our results, right? Like we are our hardest critics than anybody can possibly be. A board, boss, a partner, like we are our toughest critics. So as long as you can create the environment that I can excel, I'm going to excel.
What was it about starting a football club or a soccer team? Like, what was the moment where somebody was like, oh, do you want to start a football club? And you were just like, what clicked in for you? Was it the business? Was it the actual sport itself? Like, what exactly did you see as an opportunity? And why were you like, yeah, I can do this?
Well, I can tell you what it wasn't. It wasn't that I was a football player growing up or that I watched every NWSL match. I mean, the irony of all of this is like I never played soccer, and outside of the World Cup and the Olympics, like I never watched football. I didn't know the NWSL existed when Karen Nortman, one of my co-founders, the other being Natalie Portman, gave me the idea. I mean, I had no idea there was a professional women's soccer league in the U.S. And I'm an athlete and I love sports, and I have season tickets to USC football games, and I go to see basketball and American football. See what I do now? American football.
There you go.
I didn't know it existed. And so it wasn't just obvious. So what was obvious to me was I love sports. I love LA. I'm an entrepreneur. So you always want to build something you're passionate and excited about. And to bring a women's professional team, whatever that was, to LA, that was just the no-brainer. I think the part that made it special, and even better, was that despite all the challenges around women's sports, right, which we've talked about, there was no denying that women footballers, especially the U.S. women's national team, were the best in the world, right? Period. Like imagine starting a restaurant with the absolute best ingredients, a Michelin star chef, right, in the perfect location, right, where there is no traffic going to and from the restaurant, right?
Wow, like you're speaking our language,
right? But like you're going to be successful, right? If I tell you those things, like it's a home run. You're going to be successful. And so for me, it was like, wait a minute, I can lead a sports team in Los Angeles, my city, the one that I love. Sports, something I'm super passionate about, and I actually get to work with the best ingredients in the world in sports. It's like undeniable you are the best, and you are the best. And we started in 2019, right? Like so it's like, of course, so to me, it's like, of course I want to be successful, right? And so that was it wasn't, there's a lot of challenger sports today, and they're all great, but none of them can say we are the absolute best, and the whole world watches when we play. So how could we not be successful adding that with Los Angeles?
Yeah.
I love that.
So well put.
I know. When I think of you, Julie, like there's one thing that you said I just have to repeat. It's like you said, you don't have to sell anything because you believe everything you say. And that's how I see you. And that's how I hear you. And I always say about you that you're Angel City's biggest fan, because when I sometimes sit on the bench, you are literally right behind me, narrating and dictating the whole game.
I'm working on that too.
Don't work on it. It's like now it's just like a part of the experience that we're all like.
At least I'm using the right words now, though.
Like
I kind of know what I'm talking about.
And we know like our leadership really cares.
Yeah.
And that matters. And I think that's one of the coolest things about playing for a team that was created by women was I always got to feel that awkwardness of going to the men in suits and the board and the leader and saying like, this is how I think it should be and this is what I think we deserve. Like it never felt like a struggle because our leadership was our biggest fans. And I think that that's like something that is really valuable, and it does feel like it points to like, collaborative leadership and circular leadership and this amplification of voices. And I think as an athlete, sometimes I've felt like there's an athlete's almost like in the bigger game of the business of women's sports, the athlete's the pawn, right? Like we don't get to say, we don't get to dictate, we just get the moves are made and like the real play's happening behind the scenes. And I've really enjoyed the way that you've been able to bring to life the whole board. And just the other day, I'm going to get to my question. Just the other day, you sat with me after the game, and I am in my happy girl soccer playing era. So after most games,
I'm going to create a T-shirt now that says that. Happy girl playing era, Christen Press.
It is my happy girl era. And most games, I'm like smiling. I'm like, I'm getting better. Like we're doing something important. Like I obviously want to win, but most games, like I still see the perspective, which is very rare in an athlete. And I was not in my happy girl moment. I was mad. It was the last game before the break. I was just like, I want to be better right now. And you sat down with me on the field. Actually, you laid back on the field and you were like, when is it going to be our turn? And it was like that exact like number one fan is my boss's boss laying with me. And the question of all that is, where do you think Angel City is on that vision that you have, on that journey? Where do you think we are now versus where you want to be?
I don't think we're that far away. And I wouldn't have said that last year or the year before. I mean, building an expansion team is really hard. We've learned a lot of lessons. Sports is one of those businesses where you can't unwind decisions quickly, right? There's contracts, there's salary caps, there's seasons. You just can't, even when you realize you made a bad decision or you realize that you can improve in a certain way, sometimes it just takes time. And I think that's been the hardest part for me is I can't see something and fix it right away because it takes time, and then you have to live through that. And sometimes that means, not getting the talent you want or not winning the game. Or we worked really hard in this off season to think about like, where do we want to be and who's going to get us there? And candidly, it was tough. We talk about being, and I've never really talked about this. Like we talk about being a female-led organization and having female leaders and having representation. And, we were going into a search for a sporting director and a coach where we had to be really honest with ourselves. Like if this turns out not to be a woman as the head coach or not to be a woman, like how do we feel about that? And how do we think about that? And what really matters at this point? And ultimately, we realized we were looking at the problem wrong. It's really about development. Putting someone in a position and them not being successful is almost worse than not putting them in the position at all, which is not to say that we did that, but it's like, how do you think about what really matters? We talk about creating pathways for players. Well, it's creating pathways for coaches and pathways for management. And so I feel we're going to make the playoffs. And then, once you make the playoffs, it's a whole new world. So I like to think we're going to win the whole thing because once we make the playoffs, it's a whole new world. But no, I'm really excited about the next 2 or 3 years. I think we're making really good decisions. Really excited about what Mark Parsons and what Alex Straus has brought to the organization, not to mention, the knowledge of Illyri and Sam and Mark Wilson and Matt Waite. It's just, we're really clicking. I think we're really on the same page. And I think it's taken us a long time to actually all be on the same page, rowing in the same direction, and being really clear about what our demands are.
Do you think you could have done both at the same time? Like when you were starting Angel City? Because I think everyone always talks about this and they always say like, oh, Angel City, the brand, the club, like is so strong. Obviously the football's to come. Like, do you think there was a world where both could have happened?
It's a good question. It's a hard question because we always talk about one of our strengths was that we wrote our own playbook because there was no one to follow. Like nobody was doing it at the level that we wanted to do it. So we had to build it ourselves. And when you build something yourself, you're going to do things right and you're going to do things wrong.
Yeah.
And so, especially on the sporting side, I mean, there wasn't a single club that had more than 5 or 6 coaches. No one had a player care department. Like no one had, like most teams didn't have a GM and a head coach. Like there was really nothing to model. And obviously that wasn't my strength. And I had a lot of experts around me. So it's not that we didn't leverage our experts, but we really didn't see what it was we wanted to build. So I don't know. I guess selfishly, I want to say no, right? Because I feel better if that's the case. But, when I think about, like, my biggest mistake was I waited too long to start building sporting. I was sort of like, what am I going to do? Like, we don't have players. We don't have a coach. Like, the season's not for another year and a half. Like, what are they going to do?
Now you know what they would do.
Now I know. There's so much to do, right? Like the culture and the philosophy and the game model and starting to and start to identify talent and recruit talent. Like there was so many. Again, like I don't know how much of that would have been used or thrown away, but regardless, there was a lot that could have been done. I think, and we've talked about this, like having the right vision from the sporting director and the head coach day one is just critical, and we didn't get that. Yeah. We didn't get that right, and that took time. Like that caused problems, and then it took time to unwind. So I think we could have done a better job. I don't know if we could have done both, to be honest. Then the follow-up question to that is, well, what's better? Building the brand first and the soccer second, or the soccer first and the brand second? I've seen that a lot. And basically what we've seen is everywhere is soccer first, brand second. That seems pretty hard. Not many clubs have been able to pull it off. So a lot of clubs can win a championship. Yeah. A lot of clubs can, flip a roster in 3 or 4 years and win and still not have that brand recognition that we have. So, I'm really glad that's where we are, and we get to continue to build from that. And then as we continue to win, it just elevates all of it. So there are things I would have done differently. I'm not sure the outcome would have been significantly different.
Yeah. Do you think it's harder to be able to, like you talk about, coming from the side of being an entrepreneur, building businesses, do you think it's harder to recognize experts in something else than experts in things that you've done before? So like on the footballing side, to like, if somebody comes in and they're like, oh, this is, we used to laugh, like if anybody comes in with an English accent, they're like, oh, they must know everything about football, you know? But, and like most of our coaches, like,
or like the reverse of Ted Lasso, like all have accents. Yeah. Every single one of them.
But like to recognize,
it's so much harder because you have to, that's where you really have to trust, right? You have to do all of your diligence to feel like you've hired an expert, and then you have to, again, get out of their way. And if you made a mistake, or that's, and everybody, and like everyone has an opinion about soccer, right? Everyone has, and it's taken me, it's our 4th year on the pitch, right? It's our 5th year. Like, I feel like I have an opinion that I can trust now. Like, I do feel like I have a gut that I can trust, but it's taken me 4 years to get to the point where I can say this. Like, I can honestly say this and have a really good conversation with Mark and not just agree with everything, but like challenge and question and bring up examples and talk about a player and actually know what I'm talking about, and not just like picking, here are the top 20 free agents. Let's go after one. I'm like, I can go through the list and be like, this is why we don't want these players, or why we do, right? I could never do that before.
Yeah.
But I do think that's really hard, and that's where you just have to trust. And sometimes you just get it right, and sometimes you don't.
Totally.
I've just been really resonating with your idea of like the vision, the dream. And actually it makes me think a lot of Tobin, because Tobin sees like way past the clouds, like way over everything. And then often in our partnership, I have to figure out how do we get from A to B, and I like navigate through it. And I am the one who sets the goals, because I think sometimes the goals are like in contrary to the vision. Does that make sense?
Totally.
It's like if you're trying so hard to get to B, you can't see like the bigger picture.
Right.
So overall, how would you describe where you want Angel City to be in the next few years?
Yeah. So the question on setting goals, I think I'm afraid to set goals, because like what I do is so hard and I give everything. So the idea of like not achieving one, I think would be hard. So if I don't set a goal, then I don't not achieve it, but I know where I want to go. So it's like, I know where I want to get. I just don't need, like the steps to get there are just, for me, have never been linear. So I don't even try to sort of make them linear. And look, like you look at the last 3 years, we've surpassed every goal we ever made at Angel City. Mine is the pitch.
Yeah, no,
which seems like a very big goal to miss.
But no, it makes sense, because you said every hurdle you just like figure out how to sidestep it. So you don't even have to see those hurdles, because you're like, as long as I get to the top or the end of the.
And there's a lot of ways to get there. I mean, I think that's what people always, they get so stuck in like, I have to do it this way. And my whole career has not been that, even remotely. So I think I find some comfort in that, whereas I think other people like you would not find any comfort in that.
Oh, no,
right?
no.
I have comfort in that there's a lot of ways to achieve the same goal. And if this path doesn't work, all right, I'm going to go around the other way. But I have enough self-motivation and desire to find the other path versus to let that sort of stop me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think Mark Wilson said it first, and I've stolen it every time. So now I'm giving him credit, where he said, we want to be a legacy, we want to be a dynasty on the pitch and a legacy off the pitch. Like the great sports teams in the world, they're a dynasty on the pitch. If you look at the Lakers and the Celtics and the Yankees, you talk the Bulls, you talk about their dynasty day, right? And then a legacy is the impact. And so for us, it's how do you create that winning mentality on the pitch where we're in championship contention every single year, and then the legacy off the pitch is the impact. We've given $4.1 million back into the community since inception, and we're not a charity. Like it's insane when you think about that. 4.1 million of cash gone, like into the community, into equity, essentials, and education. I was talking with our head of community the other day, and one of the partners we support is the LGBTQ Center here in West Hollywood, and they've let go of 10 people because they lost federal funding. And they're thinking about what programs to cut. And it's like, as devastating as that is, the flip side is, well, they're going to keep going because of us.
Yeah.
Because of what we do. And it has nothing to do with politics. And it has nothing to do with anything except that, like, we have a shared values. And as an organization, we've said we're going to support you. And we've created a business model where as long as we continue to be successful, we'll be able to make impact. And, that's the kind of stuff that I just feel is like winning, right? When you can have impact greater than like what it is you do. So yes, I want to be in contention every single year for a ring, and I want to continue to have impact in the community. I was at a Barry's class the other day, and this guy walked up to me, and he's like, "I'm going to get emotional," and he started crying, and he's like, "I watched the documentary, and I've been to the game, and you have no idea what you've done for our community." And it's like, what kind of job? What kind of job where you're not intentionally, a nonprofit that does that?
Yeah.
Well,
And
I'm so glad you were at Barry's
beautiful.
because in that documentary, you working out was the highlight. You were
My 5 a.m. workout. Yeah.
It was just
Try
so
to keep
true to
up.
you.
It was
What they
so
did not put in the
authentic.
documentary was when I had to run next to Ali Riley at Orange Theory.
Yeah.
Oh
you?
my God. Oh, because Orange Theory was a sponsor and we did a class together. It wasn't pretty.
Well, you picked
humbling.
the wrong player. She's super, super fit.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I don't like
it was a
running next to her
joke.
either.
Yeah, it was not fun at all. It wasn't fun.
Well, I know I'm not I'm kind of a little bit on the outside of the Angel City family, but I will say
Really?
when I
Kristen.
speak,
That was a dig.
I mean,
that wasn't at me.
no, but I'm getting back to
You're
it.
very much part of the family.
I was going to say that when I speak about Angel City, I speak about it as being the most exciting club in the world. And when you win a championship, because it's just a matter of time, it's not an if
Right.
with this club. When you win a championship, I think because of the way that you've built and the intention that you've built with, it will mean so much more to this community and to the team that moment.
Yeah.
As opposed to, straight off the bat, win a championship, it's like, who is this team? Who is this club? So I'm really excited for that to happen. And I do speak about the, steps. And I'm like you, I don't think steps are, one in front of the other. It's a maze. And I think that what I'm most excited about is I see these core blocks that you've now and your team and your leadership have put into place. And I'm excited about it as a fan because I
you can see it.
can see it.
And that's from a footballing perspective.
Yeah, and obviously I have a little bit of a inside
little?
lens to it.
She's really downplaying her
But
existence
I would
right
be
now.
honest, I have been honest in ways that I have felt like it wasn't moving in that direction.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say that
Yeah.
with the leadership of Bob and Willow and with sporting the way it's set up and the people that you've brought in, I see it. I see the when.
Yeah. Good. Well, I trust your opinion way more than mine. So you're saying you see the win that it's coming for sure.
I mean, that was the perfect ending. So this is just a question really for me. You win multiple championships. You develop the next generation of amazing American soccer players that go on to win World Cups. You get your parade. You are on Good Morning America with us. And then what? What does Julie one
do
do
next?
after they've done that?
It's like almost a full circle moment having you ask that question. Because my head, I didn't think you were going to ask about me. I thought you were going to ask where it goes. And all of that translates into pay equity for women. Right? If we can do that, you can't justify it. paying less for the same. And that's where this whole thing started. The whole thing started with the two of you and Alex Morgan and Megan Rapinoe fighting for pay equity. Like, it's where it started. And so we just basically said, we are going to help make that a reality by our actions, not our talk. You guys did the talk and you won. Now we needed someone to pick it up where you left it off with our actions. And it's like, and if we can do these things, there's just no justification. And what's so incredible right now is it's not just Angel City anymore, right? And it's not just the NWSL, but you're seeing the WNBA, you're seeing these incredible talented women saying, I deserve more, and we're going to see it in their CBA. I mean, they've doubled the attendance in the last year, right? I mean, it's the value of sponsors to women is growing. Thanks to you, the amount of media coverage for women's sports has grown over 3 times from, 5% when we started to over 16% today. So it's like, you can't look at a single metric that doesn't justify it. But if Angel City, who said we are going to do it, actually does it, then I think that's what happens. And then, for me, I would say I've absolutely fallen in love with this sport. And it's like, how do we continue to grow it? Whether, a lot of people talk about the player pathway and youth, but it's like, there's still a lot more to do on the professional level. There's a lot more to do outside the US. We're so good at commercialization, the rest of the world isn't. But you can't grow without commercialization. You can't grow unless you eventually break even or make money. So I just think that, anyway, I love the sport and I want to try to continue to grow it.
You're going to keep going.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to maybe say you were going to move to a foreign country and live on a farm. That's what I'm going to do. And I feel like you also deserve that.
There's something appealing about just hanging out at a beach in a foreign country.
Yeah, coming to visit for a few
days. The Portugal
days.
Golden Visa does have its positives.
Well,
for sure.
as you continue on, you can visit me from time to time. Thank you. Thank you
my
for
pleasure.
being
Thanks for
on the
having
show.
me.
This was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have a new little ditty that Tobin has personally requested for us to get roasted. And I think for our new little ditty, Tobin, you should name it.
Wow, on the spot.
Yeah, live on the recap show.
Roast presented by YouTube.
No. What about community roasts?
Community roast. I love it. Community roast.
Okay. Am I starting?
Sure. Since you've already read yours.
As always, prepared. Okay. And we're not going to name the names, so y'all can keep roasting us without feeling shame. LOL, this was so fun. Tobin on Survivor would definitely trust someone and get betrayed so bad.
Okay. Sometimes I'm like, I love people's just assumptions of us, right? Like sometimes accurate, like sometimes really not accurate, but it's like, this is accurate.
It is.
You know what? I feel like I trust people.
Well,
and I trust the good of humanity. And I feel like because of that, like the universe rewards that. Like I'm always going to come in and I'm always going to trust that people are good and they're thoughtful and they're kind. Because if I come into a room and I think the opposite of that, like what a miserable existence. So yes, I would go on Survivor and I would probably make an alliance with someone that would stab me in the back.
Well, the universe might reward it, but I don't think Survivor does. The only other thing I will add is that you all need to know that after the episode, Tobin and I got in the car, and then I said, tell me who you really think would win Survivor. And she said, of course you would. And I said, of course I would. Now, you can roast me.
Okay. Roast on. Okay, well, this person says, nah, Christen would definitely win at Survivor.
Oh my gosh, I agree. Thanks for the roast. I love this version.
I mean, is this even a roast?
Not yet.
Okay, it's coming.
I really want to say the handle, but I can't. Christen chat a lot of foolishness sometimes.
Oh my gosh, 100%.
I don't know what that means.
You don't chat foolishness?
I don't know. Define chat foolishness.
I think you always tell me all the time that you speak in hyperbole.
I do.
A lot of times, you guys, when Christen is telling a story, like early on in our relationship, she would tell a story and she's great at storytelling. And everybody would be so into it.
Roast.
And then I would be like, no, that didn't happen. Or like, it wasn't in the morning, it was at night. And she was like, the truth doesn't matter here.
Who
When you're
cares?
telling
Why are
the
you so focused
story.
on the peculiarities of the day?
She would get so mad when I would step into her stories and correct her story because she knew what she was saying was AKA, what was it?
Chat foolishness.
Chat foolishness. So now when you say that you speak in hyperbole, I'm just going to say you actually just chat foolishness.
Well, actually, this just happened when I was reading something and you're like, no, that's not how it was. And I said, stop trying to dampen my artistic abilities to tell a beautiful story. It's like perception is reality. And this is how I perceive the world.
No, you've really taught me that. And then you've also taught me that I'm a terrible storyteller. So it's really intimidating now when I start a story and I look over at you and I'm just like, actually, you tell it.
No, I'm trying to be more encouraging. I'm like, come on, you got this.
I know. And sometimes I do a good job and it feels really great.
Yeah.
I did a great story the other day. I still remember the feeling. Anyway. Okay. Come on, exclamation point. Switzerland and Germany share a border, not a plane ride. One step. I think I understand this. Okay, last episode, I basically said, like, get on Ryanair or EasyJet. But the truth is, you should just get on the train. I forgot that part. Or clearly this person's really angry because they think you shouldn't do either, but you should just step over the border.
Well, we're in California.
Well, we're not taking Ryanair or EasyJet
understand.
from California to the Euros.
Let's roast them back.
I just want to say this person who will not be named, but according to this, it was 22 hours ago, and got 5 thumbs up. Like, this person wrote this.
Wait, Christian Chat, a lot of foolishness has thumbs up too. Thank you so much for all your trolling comments. Come back next time on Community Roast.